Shh.
Welcome back to a very, very special episode of the Housing Hangout, where we talk about anything and everything real estate and lending related. My name is Mark with B Realty Texas. I'm joined by my co-host, Sam Gabay, Merit Lending. Guys, we're going to be talking about three luxury living legends today. Hugh Hefner's Beverly Hills Playboy Mansion, Gianni Versace's Miami villa called Casa Cusarina, and we can't forget the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley's Graceland. So in this case, kick back, relax, definitely grab yourself a cocktail, and all you housing hooligans, make yourselves at home.
Okay, Mark, I stayed quiet through all that, but you didn't think I was going to let you get away with this one, did you?
All right, give it to me, man.
I mean, I should be
knew it
commenting
coming.
on that awesome intro, but brother, I gotta say you're looking especially dapper tonight. You definitely outdid yourself for this one. Listen,
I wanted to
in
surprise
your
you.
honor, I think tonight we're gonna run with the gold mic. How about that?
Oh,
the gold mic tonight. By the way, we're going to get into, like Mark mentioned, the Playboy Mansion, the Versace Mansion, and Graceland. There is some controversy happening at Graceland right now. We're going to get into that at the end of the show, so make sure you stay tuned for that. We're going to be playing videos all throughout this episode, highly entertaining videos, so make sure you stay tuned for all those. And again, stay tuned for Graceland at the end. Let's go.
The first one we're going to start off with is a household name. This is one of the most famous real estate properties in the world. We're going to be talking about Hugh Hefner's Playboy Mansion. It's located in the exclusive enclave of Beverly Hills in Los Angeles. This iconic property was home to Hugh Hefner until it was sold in 2017 to, do you know what this guy's name is, Sam?
The Twinkie King. He's actually called the Twinkie King.
He's the Twinkie King for $100 million. $100 million.
But so he bought it with the caveat that Hugh Hefner had to stay in the home until Hugh Hefner died. So he didn't know how long that was going to be, right? Could have been 5 years, could have been 10 years. But he actually bought it in 16 and Hefner died in 17. So he actually,
is that what it was?
Right.
Okay.
So he actually did pretty well on that deal. Like I said, it was totally unknown to him, but he did end up getting possession a year afterwards.
So a couple of specs on the mansion. It actually has 29 rooms, a wine cellar, a home theater, and even a zoo license, which they're not giving those out very often in Beverly Hills. And from what I gather,
I don't remember seeing many hippos out in Beverly Hills.
Yeah. So I also want to say, Sam, I don't know if you know this. I've actually been to the mansion twice.
I did hear that, Mark.
That's all I'm going to say.
Look, these days it's almost like
It's a family show.
you might end up with Diddy on the RICO case if you admit that you went to the Playboy Mansion these days. I mean, the existence of a property like that could never happen today. No way.
No
way. SWAT team, FBI, like everyone's going down.
This was a different time, different era, different time in my life. But yeah, I had the honor of going to the Playboy Mansion twice. It was super fun, and I'll leave it at that.
All right, so let's show you what happens to some of these luxurious properties as time passes. Here's the Playboy Mansion. Let's check it out.
The best real estate in Los Angeles.
The Playboy Mansion isn't looking so great.
The Playboy Mansion has fallen on hard times since its glory days.
I heard the mansion was a bit of a wreck on the inside.
It's a very beautiful property, but it had some, gross carpet and a lot of dogs. Like dog feces that would be like sitting on the carpet.
I got very sick and we had the house checked for mold, and there was toxic mold everywhere.
Okay, so apparently the Playboy Mansion was not as luxurious as everybody thinks. You walk in there and there's dog turds just out and about throughout the house. But Mark, you've been there. How many dog turds did you see when you were there?
I don't recall any dog turds.
But you did mention to me that the property wasn't all that, right? I mean, it was the Playboy Mansion, and it was luxurious and all that. But explain to us what you saw.
I went to a couple of parties. One of them was a charity event, and it was hosted actually in the backyard, and the grotto was part of it. And it was very lavish, but when we kind of looked inside the house and just stepped in, it was very guarded though. They didn't allow us free reign of the entire property, but the mansion was very, very outdated. It seemed as though it hadn't been updated since the 70s.
So exquisite from far, but when you got close, it was moldy. All right, let's keep going.
Let's go.
6 months after they put the house up on the market for sale, billionaire Darren Metropolis bought the Playboy Mansion for $100 million.
All right, so there's the Twinkie King right there. And there he is in the picture, in the one picture, looking like a businessman. And obviously he is, because he bought this mansion for $100 mil. But there he is right next to that. That's a party at the Playboy Mansion. Very incriminating photo, hanging out with Snoop Dogg. Like I said, this is probably not something you want coming out these days, right? He's probably regretting the fact that people knew he was at these parties. But there's definitely a stigma involved in having gone to the Playboy Mansion these days, like I mentioned before.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's see what he's actually done with the place.
Here's what this guy does for work. Darren, by some sources, is known as the Twinkie King, selling Chef Boyardee, Pabst Blue Ribbon, Bumblebee Tuna, and of course, Twinkies. And he actually already lived right next door to the Playboy Mansion. His goal was to join the two properties to create one massive compound.
Okay, Mark, I don't know, but maybe I should get in the Twinkie business. Maybe I can fill up my garage and get on Amazon and start selling some Twinkies.
Sam, we're in the wrong line of work, man.
So it's actually got a covenant on the house in Los Angeles. You can't actually tear the house down. It's kind of vintage now, right? It's law that the house cannot be torn down. You can renovate it, you can add on to it. So, I mean, it's probably going to look completely different, but you have to keep some form of its vintage state alive, right? According to the covenant. It's actually still in construction, right? Since 2017. So here we are 7 years later, and it's not done yet.
Years showing the grounds all dug up and basically just turned to dirt. The pool was gutted and is in the middle of renovation as well, including the infamous grotto.
Okay, there's the grotto where Mark was hanging out. He doesn't want to tell us the stories of his experience at the grotto. So what do we got next, Mark? That was the Playboy Mansion.
All right.
What mansion are we looking at next, and what happened to it?
All right. So the next mansion is probably the spiciest out of all of them. If you're all familiar with the super luxurious brand of Versace, it was started by famed luxury Italian designer Gianni Versace. His mansion, the Versace mansion, known as Casa Cusarina, was in Miami South Beach. And Sam, I also went to this mansion as well.
Man, you're like the Renaissance man, bro. You've been all around the world, all the famous mansions. Who are you?
What can I say, man? I love real estate.
James Bond. Mark Bond.
Mark Bond. That's right. Gianni Versace, his mansion actually carries a stigma with it. He was tragically gunned down at the age of 50 by a fan of his right at the front gates of Casa Cusarina.
Right. It was actually 24 suites. When he bought it, he turned it back into one suite.
But there's one home in particular that's best known for its architecture, history, and the famous man who resided there. We're talking, of course, about the late Italian fashion designer Gianni Versace, that he took a tour of the property and purchased it almost immediately for just under $3 million. He took what was originally a 24-apartment villa and converted it into a single home. How much did all of this run him? A whopping $32 million.
All right, so he bought it for $3 million, converted it, $32 million on the reno, so he's into the house for $35 million, right? Let's see what happens next.
Unfortunately, despite the fame, fortune, and talent that has graced Casa Cusarina over the years, it is perhaps now most famous for the tragic death of its beloved owner. In 1997, at the age of 50, Gianni Versace was shot and murdered on his front doorstep. the villa would become a gloomy tourist attraction.
All right, so there's that stigma you were talking about. Then they say that it turned into a gloomy tourist attraction after that. Then comes along another billionaire, and let's see what happens with that.
But in 2000, an entrepreneur named Peter Loftin bought the fabled villa for $20 million.
So 20 mil, right? So he spent 35 mil buying the home and renovating it. And, of course, he had passed, but his organization lost money on the place, right? They lost like $15 million.
Yeah, they dumped it for 20 mil.
Which is incredible to me. You would think that it would sell for more. And this is a perfect example. Most people think that these famous properties are like priceless, but apparently they're not, right? They lost 15 mil on this house.
However, Loftin filed for bankruptcy in 2013, and the mansion sold for $41.5 million to VM South Beach.
Okay, so, this property's just got some bad luck going, man. He gets shot there, then the next guy buys it, goes broke. But today, let's see what happened to the home today.
The company turned it into a boutique hotel, with most of the relics and architecture intact, or restored to honor the late Gianni Versace's life and legacy.
All right, so today it's back to being a hotel. Went from a hotel to Versace's home to now it's back being a hotel. All right, now if you haven't done so already, now's a perfect time to hit that subscribe button below. Now we're going to bring you the most current controversial event out of any of these luxurious mansions, probably in the world. There's some major controversy happening here right now. Mark, why don't you let us know what's going on?
And last but definitely not least, we can't forget the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley's Graceland, Memphis, Tennessee. Now, Sam, I'm not trying to sound like a broken record.
Let me guess.
But I've also been to Graceland. The home is actually currently owned by an estate, which is currently going through some financial troubles, to say the least.
Yeah, let's see what's going on. Here's the king himself.
Are you going to keep Graceland? Do you have plans of moving away from Memphis?
I'm going to keep Graceland as long as I possibly can.
So he actually kept his word. He kept Graceland throughout his life, right? But there's some controversy brewing now.
The Tennessee Attorney General is investigating the attempted foreclosure sale of Graceland.
Okay, wait. I don't know if this, we probably have some Elvis fans watching right now, but she looks a little fried to me in that picture.
Auction, which was set for this morning, did not happen because of a ruling at the Shelby County Chancery Court.
Okay, so the house was supposed to go up for auction. Now, why would that be? Why would the house be going up for auction? Let's find out.
Tennessee Attorney General's office is investigating Nosany Investments and Private Lending LLC's attempt to sell Graceland in a foreclosure auction. The company claims Lisa Marie Presley left behind a $3.8 million debt and put Graceland up as collateral. But Lisa Marie's daughter says that never happened and claims a deed of trust the company used to prove its case is not legitimate.
So she allegedly borrowed 3.8 mil against the house and never paid it back, right? And the daughter is saying that never happened. So a private company has the deed to this home right now. Look, I got to admit, I don't see a private company getting into the limelight with the deed and putting this house up for auction. They know they're going to get massive amounts of attention by doing this. I don't see them trying to sell this home as a foreclosure, having defrauded the deed. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. And I don't understand why we can't. I know she passed away, but can't we see her bank statements? Can't we find out if she got 3.8 mil? Can't we find out if payments were made or not made?
You're right. It should be really, really easy to find out. I don't know why it's gotten to this point.
Right. And I believe she did borrow the money. And I believe this company is owed the money. And they probably have the right to sell it as a foreclosure, even though it's an iconic property. But is this property just unforeclosable? Is it just so popular and such an icon of Memphis that you just can't foreclose on it?
Sam, this property is a national treasure.
Right.
This needs to be enjoyed by everyone. It would be a shame if someone just scooped this up and turned this into a private residence.
It would be a shame, but what's fair is fair. If I lent you 3.8 mil, I'd want my money back. You know what I mean? Wouldn't you?
At a hearing Wednesday morning, a judge ruled the sale would not go forward as planned.
I'm concerned about this. Graceland is iconic. It is the reason millions of people have come to Memphis. We just want to make sure that there are no shenanigans here.
So they're trying their best to make sure this home doesn't go up for foreclosure, but I don't know how long they're going to be able to keep the law away. Either somebody has to come in and pay that, or they're going to sell the house.
We gave everyone some absolutely fascinating insights into some of the most iconic properties in the world, Sam.
All right, so we showed you the Playboy Mansion and what a moldy turd it actually really was. Then we showed you the Versace Mansion and how anybody who lives there is probably going to go broke. Then we showed you Graceland and how it might get swooped up because Lisa Marie Presley spent all the money. If you haven't done so already, now's the perfect time to hit that subscribe button below. We're going to put a video on the screen of the stigmatized property video we did last week. Ties perfectly into the Versace Mansion thing we just showed you. Make sure you check that out. I'm going to post Mark and I's contacts down below. If you've got any real estate or lending questions, feel free to reach out to us anytime, even if we're not in your area. That pretty much does it for me, Mark. What do you say?
Stay classy, housing hooligans.
Mark's getting on his private jet and flying out. Peace, everyone.